Hi, everybody. It's Jack Graham, and we're here for another edition of Straight Talk with Jack. And today we're going to talk a little bit about records, vinyl records, and music, and then talk about a couple little cool little gadgets for photographers. I just received today a package from a dealer that I buy my new recordings from, and that is the InGroove in Phoenix. Um, for those of you into vinyl that are buying records, especially new vinyl, there's a lot of places you can buy online if you're buying mail order. I buy almost everything I purchase new vinyl from the InGroove in Phoenix. Why? They're small compared to some of the other people. They're relatively small, but the owner and his wife and their employees I found to be extremely knowledgeable. They do a really good YouTube channel as well, and about once a week, Mike will come on and talk about the new records that he's received into his store. And about once a month, he'll do an online chat on YouTube and field people's questions on vinyl and why and where and how. Everything you need to know, you can ask Mike, and he's extremely knowledgeable. And he seems like a nice guy. I don't know him. I've never been to the store. I'm not here to recommend Mike or anybody else. I'm just saying who I buy my stuff from. And, I'd rather give my business to somebody like that than to some people who maybe aren't as knowledgeable and don't offer their knowledge. And there are a lot of those folks. For those of you who know me, know I listen to a lot of jazz. I listen to a fair amount of classical music. And today I just received a new record from Mike. It just came in, and I think this record is brand new. I think they just started shipping about a week ago. It's a new recording from Blue Note. It's a Blue Note reissue. Doesn't appear to be in the Tone Poet series, but what a great presentation. I could tell you right away. And yep, this is pressed by RTI. RTI is a facility in Southern California, I believe. They're one of the top 2 or 3 pressing plants in the world. And believe me, folks, when you get into this stuff, you'll find that where things are pressed do make a difference. Big difference. This is a heavy record. I believe it's 180 gram vinyl. Better than the original. This will sound better than the original. First of all, there is no original because these are made from so-called lost tapes that were found of this Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers group with Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter, Bobby Timmons, and Jimmy Merritt. Lee Morgan is the trumpet player. Wayne Shorter is the tenor player. And in the rhythm section, Art being the drummer. Classic music from, I believe this is 61 maybe? 61, yes, 1961. In fact, in the background here, this is not this record, obviously, but it's the same group. Lee Morgan's a great trumpet player, died too young. We'll talk about that talk about Lee someday in another YouTube presentation that I'll do. But RTI, you can't miss. I don't know who the engineer was on this. It's probably Grundman. Yep, mastered by Bernie Grundman, who, again, if you look him up on Wikipedia, you'll see he was one of the 2 or 3 greatest mastering engineers in the business. Most of these recordings back on Blue Note during this period were made in New Jersey at Rudy Van Gelder's studio in Hackensack or in Englewood Cliffs. Actually grew up. I could ride my bicycle from where I grew up to where these recordings were made. I didn't know it when I was that young, but in 1961, I was still riding a bicycle. Let's just say that. But at any rate, this particular record will sound better. There is no original, but if there was an original, will sound better than the original because it's been remastered, and the pressing is going to be great. It's going to be very clean. Back when Blue Note was a major force, well, they really weren't a major force. They were one of the other jazz labels, Prestige, Verve. There was 5 or 6, 8 of them that were really prolific back in those days. But Blue Note, their customers didn't have really great equipment. They had good equipment. They didn't really have good sounding audio equipment, a lot of them, so they couldn't afford it. And what Blue Note did and what Van Gelder did is he did the mixing and the engineering so that they sounded good on mediocre equipment that, unfortunately, most of the people who listen to that music, that's all I could afford back then. And so if you listen to those recordings now on really good equipment, sometimes they don't sound anywhere as good as the reissues that are coming out. And there's been a lot of them. There's a Tone Poet series. There's other Blue Notes that have been reissued. A lot of other things on the labels, but it makes a difference who the mastering engineer is, and it makes a difference who does the pressing. And that's a whole nother for another time. It's quite a lengthy thing. We'll probably do a series on that. Although there are plenty of places you could find things on the internet. If you listen to Mike's YouTube channel, he'll talk about this, and he'll talk about the Kevin Grays and the Grunmans and the other people who did great mastering and still are to make some of these old recordings sound better. It's interesting to me that a lot of people are out looking to buy the original record, and that's kind of cool to have, to have the original record that was made back, in the early to mid '60s or before. But I'm going to tell you that the reissues sound a lot better than the originals. Van Gelder did a lot of stuff to make the records sound the way they do, and that's another discussion. I've heard stories that he didn't want the piano to be too much in front of the band, so he actually used to wrap the microphone for the piano in like a washcloth or something, and mute the piano down. There's a lot of stories about that. He made some of the tenor players sound differently than certainly they do when they got remixed. The Tone Poet stuff, there's probably, 30, 40 Tone Poet records out. They're amazing, and they've been remastered by a guy by the name of Kevin Gray, who does just an amazing job. So it does make a difference who does all of this. So this will be tonight. That'll be what I do tonight. Where you buy your stuff is pretty important. And again, there's a lot of places around. The InGroove, is my go-to place for new records. Acoustic Sounds is good. Music Direct is good. But I give my business to Mike. I don't know Mike. I've never met him, but I've learned so much from him, from his YouTube stuff. And, he's in business. He's trying to make a living down there and doing a great job at it. So I give my business to Mike. The shipping is as quick as you want it. You could pay for 2-day FedEx if you want, or you can go by regular mail. This time of year, we're around Christmas when I'm recording this, so things are a little slower. The other thing is, Mike will let you know when you can pre-order things. This vinyl stuff is really crazy. You have to really watch it. There's such demand for vinyl. There's a lack of vinyl on the market. There's like the supply chain problems that we're going through. The vinyl business is going through the same thing. From what I'm hearing, RTI and some of the other good pressing plants, they're already booked up for next year. So anything that they're looking to do now is going to be done in 2023. 22, I guarantee, for RTI is booked. But you know, again, where you buy your stuff is important. The new stuff is great. Now, where I buy my used vinyl, and I do buy a fair amount of used vinyl, I'm pretty picky about that because my experience from eBay has not been good. Yes, I got a couple decent recordings from eBay. What I mean by that, people will tell you that they're mint or near mint or very good plus, and on eBay it hasn't been consistent. I've gotten some really crappy records from these folks that they were supposed to be in much better shape, and they were not cheap. So I stay away from eBay, but I buy everything that I use from Discogs. Discogs is it's a web situation that I have everything I own inventoried on there. It tells me what I have, so I go in a record store, it'll duplicate things. It'll give you values. It'll give you a whole lot of other things. And it also gives you a source of people that are selling records. And I'm expecting a couple items from somebody in Discogs, a couple people. When I get them, I'll open one up here. And you know, you'll find that the folks on Discogs, when they rate something, for the most part, are pretty accurate. So if it's good, it's going to be good. If it's near mint, it's going to be near mint. I haven't had any problems with people on Discogs. I also find their pricing is a little better than it is on eBay. Like anything you collect, you have to be careful. There are people asking a lot of money for things that really aren't worth it, and once in a while, you can actually find a decent value on eBay. Everything on Discogs is pretty accurate on what it's worth, and the people are pretty honest. So, DISCOGS is Discogs. Check them out. And then the InGroove, INGROOVE.com. I'll put some links for them on this video. So I think that's probably about it for today musically, but I do want to talk about some photography for a minute. Those of you who are into audio probably are gadget nuts, and the people that are into photography are also gadget nuts. 2 new gadgets I found, and I'd like to talk to you about really quickly. There's a company called Small Rig, and Small Rig is SMALLRIG, one word. They make a lot of cool things, 2 of which I just received. This is a super clamp, and it can clamp onto your tripod and hold up an umbrella. It can hold up other things, reflectors or whatever. It clamps right onto your tripod legs. Really good quality stuff. I mean, this is not junk. And I think I paid about $9 for this. $8 or $9 for this. That's all it was. And it's really good quality stuff. It's called a super clamp from Small Rig. The other item that I can't recommend for you photographers out there, comes in a nice little case, is a tool that instead of having to carry 9 million hex wrenches and screwdrivers and all sorts of junk around with you, they make a steel tool that has pretty much every hex size that you'll need for your tripods, for your Arca Swiss plates, whatever you use, and they're on here, and they fold up like that. Really good quality steel, and it comes in a little pouch like this, and then you can put it in a case if you want, or you can whatever you want to do. This guy here was I think about $20, and for what it is, it's a really great value. You could find these on Amazon. This is not a monetized YouTube channel. I'm not here to make any money. I'm just going to bring up stuff that I think is pretty cool. Clamp and the tool. Anyhow, thank you all for a couple minutes. We'll go much more in depth into some records, into some musicians, just some stories, what have you, down the road. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.